Good morning everyone and welcome back to the Two-Headed Wolf Gaming Channel Last Epoch, as today we're having our final day from this exploratory run where I have tried every class and every mastery up to level 35 just to see what they had to offer, go for some build ideas, weirdly enough, go for some build ideas that I probably would never have picked up just because I would be fully committed to one class to take it to the end game, and thus I would only want what is the best build, either by something which I've tried and actually worked as I was leveling up, or by looking online at different build guides. But by knowing that it ended at level 35, I committed to even the dumbest ideas, and sometimes they turned out really nicely. I'm gonna talk about those in a separate video, or you can watch the series, but I do recommend that if you have the opportunity, try out all the classes and all the masteries a little bit at a time. I think level 35 is a good level, maybe even up to level 30. You can get a good idea of what they have to offer, given that you pick the masteries at level 16. So it's enough leeway there to try out some build ideas and see what every class, every mastery has to offer. And even if you like only one of these classes, like the mage, try out all his masteries in different days or on different runs, and then fully commit to one of them, because you will learn so many things about the basic skills of the mage when you go in one direction or another, that you will be a master of mages, let's call them, when you are done with it. So think about it, try it out, take my advice here, because I think you're going to enjoy it. Either way, today it's all about the Warlock. So as far as basic skills go, we're definitely going to go with necrotic damage. That's one of the things which I definitely want to have. We have here Harvest with necrotic and melee. Definitely we'll want to play with some curses, because the Harvest skill heals double damage to the enemy units that are cursed. So we want to play with some of that. Let's see what the Warlock has as far as scaling tags. The mastery is scaling damage with Fire, Necrotic, and Spell. Fire, Necrotic, and Spell once again. Fire, Necrotic, and Spell. Oh, so there's a lot of Fire and Necrotic damage in these skills. Okay, Necrotic and Spell, and then once again Necrotic and Spells. We might want to keep with the theme and actually combine those elements. This would mean that we could also try out the Infernal Shades here. Fire spell damage over time. That might be interesting. Spirit Plague. Yeah, there's plenty of skills that we can try out that we haven't tried out so far. But either way, it's going to be a lot of fun, and I'm looking forward to it. I'm super excited for this final day. I guess part of me is super excited to get to the end game as well. Like, I've played early games so much that I'm really looking forward to pushing further, to see new lands, to fight in new lands, to get brand new gear, a new level of power. Like, I'm really looking forward to that, and we'll do a lot more builds as we're going in the future. I think for the moment there's really nothing to show off here in the early game that we haven't seen in the previous days. On the first run, when I went for Necromancer, I shown a lot of this early game, so if you're curious about that part of the Acolyte, you can go back and watch it. And for the moment, it's going to take us a while until we can get some skills which I will actually want to use as a Warlock. So let me put a cat in here, and I will return to you ASAP. The Warlock story starts here at level 5, or at least our Warlock story. We start with the Harvest skill. A melee attack hits all enemies in an area in front of us, double damage to cursed enemies. We need 2 more levels until we can get the Bone Curse and actually do the double damage, but I'm going to throw the Harvest skill here. I will want to have Reblood just to make sure that we're healing ourselves whenever it's necessary. I'm definitely going to keep Wandering Spirits, and actually I believe I'm going to specialize in that. But we're also first of all, what I want to do is specialize in Harvest. This is definitely the skill that I want to use for a while. We can get a kill threshold here, where we could instantly kill enemies under 4% health. We could multiply this to 12% health, which on one hand it could be useful, but I don't think it's that useful for early on. We are not fighting at that limit. Bleeding I won't necessarily want for this run. Poison chance, no. I think I want to focus on Necrotic, and let's see, do we have any fire here? Because that seems to be the theme of Warlock, no. But Necrotic should be a thing, right? Yeah, this one changes Necrotic to physical. We have necrotic resistance shred 20% per point. I would like that. I feel like that is pretty good. And Blood Spectre necrotic damage plus 7 per point. Blood Spectre summoned by Harvest deal additional melee necrotic damage. Which one is Harvest from this? Oh, this, the main skill can summon Blood Spectres by doing this. Blood Sculptor. Harvest has a chance to summon a Blood Spectre when it kills an enemy. You cannot summon more than one Blood Spectre every 2 seconds. Okay. Interesting. So we could do that. We could go in this direction where we also each hit with Harvest grants Spirit Shards up to a total of 13. When you have 13 Spirit Shards, your next use of Harvest consumes them and deals more damage and grant you mana. Consuming Spirit Shards also grants your existing minions more damage for 4 seconds. This buff does not stack. Okay. 13% more damage with 13 shards. That's not bad at all. We could turn the mana converted to ward. Interesting as well. There's a lot of interesting things here. You'll hear me say interesting a lot. When Harvest hits a target afflicted with Spirit Plague, it applies Withering and has a chance to spread Spirit Plague to an additional target. Yes. Global crit chance increased by 10%. I like that. Marked enemies. Okay. So, the first thing that I will want to do is to get down here. I want that Withering chance. When are we getting the Spirit Plague? Here, at level 15. It's going to be a while until I get there. So maybe it's not the best choice for early on. Although... No, we need to have them affected by Spirit Plague, so we're not gonna go in that direction just yet. Let's head down this area. Make sure that we're getting a bunch of Spirit Shards. And as far as the build goes, as far as passive skills, what does this scale with? Necrotic melee area dexterity and intelligence. So what I am thinking to begin with is armor. We need as much armor as possible because we'll stay in melee. And I'll just quickly show off this skill and then we'll talk about a few items. As you can see, overall, it's not that big of a deal. Either way, it's just an early test for these enemies. It's not that big of a challenge either way. And we can bring in the spirits, which should do a lot of damage, and that should be awesome for us. And there we have it, that's about it. At this moment I have these items. Basically the Soul Bastion, 10% block chance, 761 block effectiveness, gains a soul charge on kill, at 5 soul charges cast Soul Eruption, plus 2 to Soul Feast. Those are skills which we will talk about. Where is it? Here? I don't know if we're even gonna get there with the Warlock, but there we go. We have a shield for that. I'm thinking first of all we are going to equip this belt. No, it's this one. 12% increased damage, 3 potion slots, 25% increased ward gain on potion use, 29% necrotic resistance, 24% reduced duration of stuns on you. Your potion grants ward instead of health. You know, something to give us a bit of more strength, a bit more strength. The ward will just increase our survivability. And then we're gonna change to this one, where we get 200 armor besides the 55, and 11% increased cast speed we won't care that much for, 32% increased armor, yes, 80% increased necrotic damage if you have been hit recently. So overall this is going to be great. If we find more pieces, it's going to be even better for necrotic damage, but for now, we're just gonna use that. And finally, when we reach level 21, I think I'm going to change to this two-handed weapon, where we get some melee damage, increased minion damage, we don't care, 55 melee necrotic damage, plus 9 to intelligence, and 20% chance to summon a skeleton harvester for 15 seconds on kill. Either way, it seems like a really strong weapon, a really strong unique there, and we shall see it in action when the time is right. For now, I will put another shortcut and I'll see you at the next step when we unlock Bone Curse, and we'll see how it plays with that. Here we are on level 7. At this point we have a curse, the bone curse. Apply a curse to the enemy in an area for 8 seconds that causes physical damage when hit. The damage is tripled if you inflict the hit yourself. So this is going to be really good for us. We're gonna triple the damage the enemy takes when we hit them ourselves while they are cursed. And we're also gonna get double damage with Harvest here, so it's a really nice combo put together. We're gonna do overall a lot of damage. With the Harvest skill, I already invested 2 points in Finality in order to get down here to Spirit Shards. So we're gonna start getting this. At 13 shards, we're gonna get 13% extra damage, 2 mana, and minion damage will also get a buff in the damage that they do. Overall, that is great. We're gonna need to spend 3 more points in order to get in this direction. I would really like these Blood Specters to do necrotic damage as much as possible. What else would they get? Increase critical chance by 100%. I would really love to have that as well. And I'm not sure about the Leech. Leech would mean that these Specters stay with us for longer, because as soon as they are summoned, they will start losing health. And you have to keep them for as long as possible. Let's see. I've reached 5 points here in Bone Aura, and that is great for us and our minions. We could get a bit more vitality and increase minion health, but I don't really care too much about that. We could have increased attack and cast speed for our minions. We're not playing with minions on this situation. Whenever a nearby enemy, ally, or minion dies, you have a 10% chance to gain ward, 13 per point. Yes. I could see that working as sort of a shield. I'll put a point in there. I know that at times this might feel useless, and I guess towards the end game, 13 ward doesn't really matter. Let's say we kill enemies, then we have 39 ward. It's a very low chance, it's not that impressive. You can spec out of it. However, for early game, I feel like that is going to help. Every little bit will help, and I'm gonna keep continuing invest. I'll keep investing into the armor as well. And you've seen how quickly we've destroyed that small boss there. Just getting this curse on and then doing the harvest is really great for us. And look at the spirit shards. Okay, so these don't disappear. We're gonna get that boost at 13 shards no matter what. Then it's gonna last for 4 seconds, and then it's going to go away, and we're gonna do it one more time, right? That seems to be the case. Which is really nice. I am happy with that. Okay, let's do another one of these. More curses. And now we'll do a lot of damage. Yep, look at that. And if I bring in the spirits as well, pretty much melting it. Nice. So just like that.
It isn't safe. We'll reconvene outside.
This ring is probably better than this ring, right? 24 dodge, and we're getting here 25 dodge with another 15. Yeah, I would like that instead. With this axe, 11 melee damage, we have 10 over here, 8% increased melee attack speed, some damage over time, and 4 health on kill. Would it be better? I guess we could get a bit of healing there. The difference is in damage. We can feel it just because we have that +6 to cold damage, and there is a chance to ignite as well, which applies a little bit more damage. Not a huge amount. If I'm taking a look over here, let's see. Ignite is 40 damage, is not bad for early on. I like trying new skills in the early game. Well, let's see, what is our next skill? The Hungering Souls is also really good for us. So Hungering Souls, calls for 5 Hungering Souls that seek out enemies on hit, they deal necrotic damage and then possess the target. And then possessed targets take necrotic damage over time for 1.5 seconds. And enemies cannot be possessed by multiple souls at once. Ooh. So we're gonna do all of this. I am going to curse the enemy, throw these souls, then do the normal attacks, and everything will add up, especially when fighting bosses. I am thinking of most likely specializing in hungering souls rather than wandering spirits, although wandering spirits can be really strong. We're gonna get another level here soon. Really nice. Dark Scepter. Okay, there's a lot more damage there from what I can tell. Let's see, what is this? Plus 5 void melee damage and lightning melee damage and increased stun chance and 6 health on kill. It felt like I was getting a bit more with this. But I guess that's just because of the ignite. Right, it's giving a melee estimate, so if I apply burn, then it's getting calculated as well. I think that for right now the best tactic is Curse actually, rather than Wandering Spirits. Unless we're focusing on a boss, this is not necessarily the most useful right now. I know there's a chest down there, but we don't really care about it. We're not getting anything except for set items, and I don't want it. I do not want that orb. I just want to get to level 8 and figure out what I want to specialize in next. Okay, it's going to take us a while until we get back on the battle map, so I'll see you once again in a second. Level 7, perfect. Let's see, armor, spell damage, health and mana. Instead of those resistances, I guess for early on that is totally fine. We'll equip it. And let's figure out what we're going to do here. We're gonna throw 2 more points into Bone Aura. At this moment, 160 armor is really great for us. Look at that. We have 38% block effectiveness with a block chance of 16%, and then we're getting reduced damage, 18% of it. Armor is only 70% as effective against non-physical damage, mitigating 80%. I see, and the physical damage is 26%, I guess. And we have an 8% chance to dodge as well. So what are we going to do now? I'm not going to go with Bone Spirit for the moment. Or the Bone Curse. It doesn't really seem like it's something that I want to specialize in right now. So that leaves us with Wandering Spirits here, which could be really good. We could shred necrotic resistances, and that could be really strong. Wandering Spirits inflict enemies around them with damned. Damned meaning damage over time, I believe, right? It's an ailment, deals 25 necrotic damage over time. Ooh, this could be super powerful. Fear range, ailment range. I don't want the fear that much. Maybe I should try to play with fear once. I don't like fear because I don't like enemies running away from us as I'm trying to melee attack them, right? So I don't know if I like that necessarily. Reveal rate could mean more ghosts, more wandering spirits, and that would be great. Spirits are now revealed around the target location rather than around you. Spirits deal more damage. Sure, but I think I like them as a shield. Necrotic damage to poison damage, we don't care too much about that. Damage to cursed enemies 12% per point, and damage to damned enemies 12% per point. Ooh. Yeah, this, like, together with this is going to mean a lot of damage. I think I've made my choice already, to be honest. A bit more ward, wandering spirits is channeled. I don't want to do that. Each spirit is larger and deals damage in a larger area. If you have terrifying presence, the area for inflicted fear is also increased. Okay. And the wandering soul or the hungering souls, what do we get here? A few more projectiles with a bit more mana cost, not the biggest problem in the world. Chance for extra projectiles, some damage over time increase. Chance, you have a chance to cast Hungering Souls when hit, but souls cast this way have a 70% chance to only have one projectile. Okay. And then we get increased chance to cast Hungering Souls and double cast it. And also to gain a bit of ward. I would like the automation, I'm not gonna lie. The extra necrotic damage on hit is also really good. We get increased damage when we have free minions, and I think that's what we're at most going to run with. Maybe not even that. There's some fire damage here. Okay, it's not as appealing as Wandering Spirits, to be honest. I want this one. And I want the first thing to be Necrotic Shred. And then I want the Damn Chance. And then we can go here to do extra damage to cursed enemies and damned enemies. I like those ideas a lot. And yep, we're gonna start investing here. So let's see this in action. I guess there's not a whole lot that we can see. We know that the Wandering Spirits is strong. This has just been the next step, and you can see we're doing a lot of damage to cursed enemies. That is great. We're also getting a bit of support from our minions at the moment. Is this considered in any way a spell, the Harvest one? I don't think it is. No. It does scale with intelligence, but that's about it. So with this in mind, we're gonna finish this secondary quest, and then I'll put another cut and return in a few levels. I think that probably the best choice would be to return when I'm picking the mastery up. Let's see, what else do we have along the way? Common Bone Golem, Spirit Plagues. The Spirit Plague might be interesting as well to try out because we haven't really played around with it. That is once again a curse, so we can replace this one with the Bone Curse. And it is doing the necrotic damage, so that is going to be our next step. Let's fight these two mini bosses here. Throw in those spirits, they should be doing a lot of damage. We're gonna curse them and we're gonna melt them. That's it. Nice and easy. Our minions have died, but who cares? Level 15, and it's time to upgrade our build and put ourselves against one of the most annoying bosses when you are playing a melee character. And it's here in the armory, the one that does the fire spills, and we shall see how we handle that. For now, let's start with the passive skill points here, because we'll unlock a few other skills along the way. And let's see, what do we want to do now? We've maximized bone aura, so we have a maximum amount of armor there. Increasing damage by a percentage could be really good. But I am thinking that maybe just throwing in some extra intelligence would help, right? Because it would increase the power of Harvest, it would increase the power of Wandering Spirits, and it would increase the power of Hungering Souls as well. Plus it would provide us with some ward retention. If we go with percentages, sure, we're gonna get a bit more damage there. However, it's not gonna be as impressive as this, at least as far as defenses go. Over on this side, I don't think I want to bring in a Revenant anymore, and we won't need to get this extra damage, at least not at the expense of health, not on this run. We're gonna go like this, so those are 4 points right there. Is there anything else that I would care for? I think more intelligence, more ward retention for early on is better than getting these skills upgraded. Over on this side, now we have Spirit Plague, which curses a target with a powerful necrotic damage over time effect, which lasts 3 seconds, spreads to a single nearby target on death, and it has 93 damage. So overall, it's a lot better than what we're running with right now, the Bone one. Crimson Gluttony. You and your minions have increased health regeneration, and the effects that drain percentage of health drain less health. Could do that for the health regeneration. Chance to poison enemies on kill is interesting. I'm not really planning to go with poison, but it might actually be very good. Ward retention 8% per point could be better, and necrotic and poison resistance is going to be very valuable, especially later on when we are getting into the desert area, right? Ward retention now is at 40%. If we can get some ward regeneration, this is going to be great for us. Your minions have additional armor, we don't care, we won't have minions, and increased necrotic damage and damage chance and increased minion necrotic damage 12% per point. This is really good. This is something which we will want. Infernal Shade. Target enemy and all nearby enemies take fire damage per second. Each enemy can only have one Infernal Shade attached at a time. Expires after 5 seconds, maximum of 4. So it's sort of the Hungering Souls here, however it's with fire. And I'm thinking of changing a few things around, right? We're gonna go with Spirit Plague here instead of this Bone Curse. Hungering Souls I haven't been using that much. Of course, minions might be useful, but what I truly want to build here is a solo character which focuses on melee combat, right? So we need to be tanky in ourselves. We need to make this Acolyte a really tanky character. So I am thinking of going this way with Infernal Shades. You know, like just have these sort of runs here. I don't know, I'm probably going to replace Infernal Shade, depends on how I scale the damage. Either way, for now, let's see, for Harvest over here, do we want more shards? Or do we want more damage when we reach 13 shards? Could be one of those things which we want. Either way, I think going with 3 points over here, that's 39% extra damage and a bit of mana. And I think that getting this Blood Spectre, at least for a short while, is going to be helpful for us. Just because I want to go towards necrotic damage. Then on this side, I said that what I want to do is go for Necrotic Shred here. We will need to invest 3 points on this side, so that's a 90% shred chance per attack. That's really cool. And yeah, or per spirit in this situation. And then we're gonna go actually get one damned here. A bit of damage over time, that's 25. It's fixed. So we're not gonna go super crazy with it, but it should be more than enough. And I actually can equip, yeah, I can equip this belt, which gives me a bit of mana, a bit more damage, and some ward on potion use. And this shield, which gives us some soul charges, going to be more effective later on. Okay, this curse is not an AoE. It's a lot of damage, but it's not an AoE. Ooh, how about this skull thing? Okay. Oh, so I'm summoning it and it appears somewhere at random. Target enemy and all nearby enemies take damage. I see. It's an interesting way. It's like the spreading fire mechanic, which we've seen before. But I don't really like it. And I think what I want is to have the Bone Curse for a while, so that I can have this target area for mobs. Right, and targeting the area for the mobs is a lot better. However, when we're fighting a boss like this one here, going for the Spirit Plague is better. I'm gonna summon a bunch of spirits here. We're taking a bit of damage. And we get a lot of ward there with potion use. This is what I was saying about this one being the most annoying boss out of all of them when you're having a melee character. Ooh, do we just get straight up ward instead of health? I think that might be because of the belt, right? Let me try to go back. Yeah, no, I'm gonna stay out of that ward until we get a bit more retention. Because for now, that is not really helping us at all. But there we go, a lot of damage very early on. I think we've done well there. I don't think we could have wanted anything else. A bit more movement speed, some armor, some cold resistance. I think I'm going to throw these boots in, why not? Level 16, and it's time for a real boss battle here without minions. I'm gonna do my best not to die here. Things are a bit more difficult than before. But we should be able to handle this. Okay, move out, we can do this spell. It's not gonna do a whole lot of damage. We can put down a curse, we can throw in this. The spirits will help us with the most amount of damage there. I really hate this fire attack. It's going to be very problematic if it hits us. And this arena is really bad for the Wandering Spirits. As long as he almost got us. Ooh. Wandering Spirits tend to, as you can expect, wander around, and thus if you summon them over here, you can see them randomly spawning in all sorts of area. I guess I could go with the upgrade, which makes them a bit more targeted, and I'm sure that that would be a bit more efficient, more useful to do. Let's move out, let's keep casting this. Not a huge amount of damage, but every little bit counts at the end of the day. Good, let's throw in our spirits once more. We can get a few hits over on this side. I'm gonna put down the curses once again. Move out, let's shoot. I like this boss because it's the first true challenge where you really have to avoid a lot. Everything that you've learned so far, you see it in action. Meaning that when you fight the council, you fight 3 members of different elements. And you have like this beam of fire, which is static, so you know that there's a beam of fire. Then you have the lightning, right? The area of lightning, which is smaller, a lot smaller than this one, so you learn about that attack as well. And you pretty much learn all of the spells as you get up to this battle, where it's combined, it's a lot bigger, or it's a lot stronger than it used to be. So I feel like the developers have done, once again, a really good job. They've taken some of the best lessons from gaming, where they don't need to tell you what you should be doing. They're teaching you, and they're teaching you along the way. It's not like this super, surprise where you don't understand exactly what the mechanics are before you reach here. You've seen it before, you just have to adapt to it, and you have to adapt to it very quickly. Let's pick our mastery. And the final one, the Warlock, a master of the forbidden arts. They tear into the essence of their foes, corrupting their spirits with relentless curses and hexes. 5% more damage per curse on the target. Then this might not be a bad idea with 2 curses. 35% fire and necrotic resistances. Is this the best thing in the world? Somehow this passive feels underwhelming. I mean, the resistances are good, definitely. But you can get them through gear. 5% more damage per curse on the target. How many curses could you have? 2? Maybe a maximum of 3? But would you like to have 3 curses on your bar? We shall see here in a second. Tonic Fissure. Opens an infernal fissure in the ground, dealing fire damage over time to enemies on top of it, as well as releasing spirits from the fissure that seeks nearby enemies. These spirits inflict enemies with Torment, a curse that slows and deals necrotic damage over time. Okay. So there is a way to throw in a few more curses.
I see that you are still.
So what would we invest in? We can now take a look at the Warlock tree. Fightful Decay, increased damage over time and gives us 4 health. And once we invest 5 points, you deal more damage over time to cursed enemies. I see. So you might be getting a bit more damage depending on the curses that you have. So you're getting more out of the tree than at the beginning of the tree. Interesting. You deal increased fire damage and have a chance to ignite on hit with fire skills, and you deal increased necrotic damage and have a chance to inflict damage on hit with necrotic skills. 6% per point, that's pretty good. Soul Stealer increases mana regeneration. And when we invest 5 points here, you gain a chance per curse on the enemy to gain mana on hit. 13. Huh. Okay. Well, I like this one. We're gonna go with the damn chance with necrotic skills and increase necrotic damage first of all. And as far as these skills go, so let's see. Frailty over here to make enemies take a bit more damage from physical. More poison, spread on recast, spreads after a duration, poison wisps chance. Okay, I don't see anything that would be too crazy with this Spirit Plague. How about Tonic Fissure? Spirit Release chance, so we can increase that. Necrotic resistance stack. Fire resistance, so we can get a bit more resistance out of it. Necrotic damage per 1% added critical multi. Spirit frequency, second fissure, chance to replace spirits with chaos bolts. That could be interesting. Other elements duration, fire to physical conversion, ignite to bleed chance. Acid skin on fissure hit. Volatile zombie mana consumption, chance for no additional zombies. Okay, it is a bit of a weird sort of deal here. I like how it looks. I really like how it looks. But the mana consumption there, 45. Okay. We might be using this a lot more than I thought we would be. But that is going to have to be it for this episode. We're gonna return in the next one. I'm gonna farm until around level 20. I think we're gonna split it in 2 parts. Start at level 20, run for a while, and then jump to level 35 and draw some conclusion, take another final look at the upgrade that we're doing, and just see how that evolves. At the end of the day, at around level 20, we're gonna be able to equip a few of these items, and we're gonna have some fun with it. Let's see what the Warlock has to offer.
You've done it. You've